So what I am here to talk to you about is a partnership that myself and a colleague, Charlotte Whitteridge, another consultant that many of you will know who works in this field, are excited to kind of launch slightly later this year. And Chris and Charlotte and I took the decision to talk about it today, even though we're not really launching it fully until the beginning of November. But it's something that Charlotte and I have been working on for a while. So we have, with the support of Team Kinetic, developed a programme specifically for volunteer managers and leaders who are aspiring to move into a role of head of volunteering. And so it is a new leadership development programme specifically targeted at volunteer managers who are looking to make that transition into a more strategic leadership role, and particularly into a head of volunteering role. Or it might be that you're someone who's already in a head of volunteering role in a relatively small organisation and are looking to make that transition into a larger organisation. So this is a programme that is absolutely about you and your career development. If you like, it's permission to be selfish and think about yourself and your own career development. Something that I think as volunteer managers and leaders, we are sometimes a bit guilty of not doing. We put our volunteers first, or we put our organisations first. And so this programme is about equipping you to move into that strategic volunteering leadership role as a head of volunteering in order that you can do more within your organisation, but also to support you with your own career development. So it will be an 8-month leadership development programme focused specifically on how you develop the knowledge, the skills and experience to transition to that role of head of volunteering. So this isn't a training programme about the mechanics of volunteer management. This is a leadership development programme about you and your career development. What's the knowledge you need to have? What are the skills you need to have? What's the experience you need to bank to transition to a head of volunteering role? It will be delivered as a blended programme, so we'll have some online content and some face-to-face, and that comes from our experience as people who have also developed and delivered a number of learning and development programmes for different audiences over our career.
People saying they can't see your slides. I can see them. Can you pop it into presenter mode? Is that possible?
Oh, I am in presenter mode. That's really strange.
Maybe sharing, maybe not sharing quite the right screen in presenter mode. Sometimes we get this with Teams or with Microsoft and Google. They don't like to play as nice together as you like.
Any better? No.
Oh, they did flash up. There we go. No, still not getting there. Have we got? I think has Alex got your slides? Can we put them up for you?
I've just sent them to Alex, so hopefully, and I will carry on chatting in the meantime to make the best use of time. Never short of a bit of chat. So I will chat on topic, and then Alex, you can catch up with where I've got to with the slides, I'm sure. So an 8-month programme specifically focused on the knowledge, skills and experience to make that transition. So it's not about the mechanics of volunteer management, it's about developing yourself to move into those strategic roles. And we've put it together, I guess, because we see a gap in that provision for more experienced volunteer managers and leaders. Oh, Alex, you're so speedy. It will be a blended programme. So we've put together some face-to-face content and some online content. Okay, it will be a small fixed group of no more than 20 participants. So we are going to cap the numbers because we want to make sure that there's a really deep quality learning experience and we can really facilitate a kind of peer support network around that. And if you want to go to the next point, Alex, thank you. So it has been devised, it will be delivered and supported by Charlotte and I. And so we are both people who have worked in very senior leadership roles in volunteering and in people, but have also, I think, crucially, are accredited kind of trainers and coaches and learning and development specialists. So it's those two worlds coming together that I think puts us in a good position to develop the programme. So if you just go to the next one, Charlotte, you can Alex, you can see a little bit more information about Charlotte and I. So we will develop and deliver the programme between the two of us, and you can read a bit about our background there. As I said, it's for us, this is about a combination of, yes, we are people who have been heads of volunteering. I think I've lost count of the number of heads of volunteering I have recruited into organisations, whether I've been a director of volunteering recruiting heads into my team, or a director of people recruiting heads of volunteering, or a trustee sitting on boards recruiting heads of volunteering. So we've either occupied those spaces or we've been involved in recruiting people into those roles across our career, as well as devising and delivering learning and development programs. So it's the two worlds coming together. And between us, we have quite a range of different sizes of organisations that we've worked in and areas of focus. So conservation, heritage, healthcare, animals, you know, the range is in there. So in terms of what the programme will comprise of, Alex, if you want to move on, thank you. This is a very top line view. So there will be face-to-face workshops. We will bookend the 8-month process with some face-to-face workshops. And all of our experience is that the kind of learning and development experience that we know can add real value can come from being face-to-face. So we will organise those face-to-face workshops in central locations. They will then be interspersed over the 8-month period with a series of online webinars. And some of those online webinars will give you access to existing heads of volunteering or former heads of volunteering who have moved into even more senior roles, so that you're learning not just theoretically from people like Charlotte and I who used to do this, but you've also got access to people who are in those roles and in those spaces now. Through the 8 months of the programme, we'll also set up a series of action learning sets. So in that group of 20, we'll split into 4 small groups and have 4 action learning sets that will work together throughout the 8th month of the programme. And then there'll be an element of self-managed learning. So we'll begin the programme with the use of an accredited psychometric tool, which will give you a really good understanding of your starting place in terms of leadership development. And that will then form the backbone that you work through over the 8 months. And so what underpins all of these 4 elements, I guess, Alex, if you just click on, is this focus on career development planning. So there's no right or wrong about where people are when they join the programme. They join the programme where they are. And what's important is that there's this opportunity built into the programme for bespoke career development planning. So you'll have access to one-to-one support to help you develop a career plan for that transition into a head of volunteering role or something similar. So if you just click on, Alex, so we'll run the programme itself. Oh no, go back, too soon. From February to October next year. So we will start the sign up for the programme in November, which feels like a good time to us because it's also when it's International Volunteer Managers Day in that month, isn't it? So it's a good time. We've allowed a few months to sign up, but the places will be limited and the programme itself will run from February to October. We're also really pragmatic. We know what it's like to be someone who has to go to your line manager and ask for resources to support you in attending a programme like this. So we want to provide enough time for people to have those conversations. You just skip on. Thanks, Alex. So there is a QR code there because, you know, it wouldn't be a Team Kinetic event without a QR code. Oh, the formatting's weird on it's you're sharing at your end, but there is a QR code there, which if you use it, it will take you to a really simple form where you can just drop in your contact details to let us know that this is something you would like to know more about. So it just means that as soon as we launch the information in early November, we will send some of that information directly to you so you can read a bit more about it and decide whether it's for you. What we've done in putting the programme together is talked a lot to people who still work in organisations who are in roles where they are recruiting heads of volunteering on a regular basis or have themselves been heads of volunteering. And we've taken insight from them to help shape the overall structure of the programme and also the content of the individual modules that we'll deliver as we go through. So Julie at Cats Protection and Rachel at Girl Guiding are both people that have really helped us think about how to develop a structure and a content that will work. And you can see there that they are really supportive of the programme. When I first talked to Rachel about it, there was a lovely moment where she said, I'll send people on it, which was a lovely thing to hear about. And so my final slide is just a reminder of what I said at the beginning. So this is a leadership development programme. It's not about your skills as a volunteer manager. It's about your leadership development to transition into a strategic role, probably a head of volunteering role. It's an 8-month programme, really focused on the knowledge, skills and experience, and it is permission for you to be selfish and think about your own career development. It will be a blend of online and face-to-face learning and development, and you will be working with a peer network of no more than 20, so you and up to 19 other people, supported by Charlotte and I through that programme. And it's been developed by Charlotte and I based on our experience both in volunteering and people leadership and in learning and development. So we are really excited about it. it's nice to be able to talk about it finally. We've been working on it for a little while, and we are really pleased that Team Kinetic are supporting the programme and partnering with us on it, because it fits with the kind of exactly where you started at the beginning of the day, Chris and Ruth, when you were talking about kind of putting volunteer managers front and centre and supporting their development. So it fits really well. So yeah, please use the QR code. My email address has been on the top of all of those slides. So if you'd rather get in touch in a good old-fashioned email, you are welcome to do that. But more information will come your way at the beginning of November.
Thank you, Helen. See, all that pressure, you absolutely, you rolled that wave like a pro. No pressure at all. We are really, really proud to be supporting Helen on this new endeavour, and we think it's something desperately needed for the sector. As we've spoken about this morning, the pathway for a volunteer manager, the career pathway for a volunteer manager, isn't straightforward. It's not obvious, and anything that we can do to support and help and better define that pathway, we want to support as much as we can. So thank you, Helen, for coming and giving us the exclusive that this thing's now live and about to happen. Yeah, thank you.
Can I just answer Nick's question, because I'm sure Nick has vocalised the question that other people are asking. Nick, thanks for the question. You don't need to do the winky face. It's a perfectly reasonable question to ask. I'm glad you've asked it. We are working on it, is the honest answer. So the challenge we are trying to balance, and this is in a live conversation with Chris too, is we know how hard it can be for volunteering professionals to access budget to support their own learning and development. We're also mindful that not particularly strategic or forward-looking line manager of a volunteer manager might think this is training someone up to leave their organisation and be reluctant to invest in them. And we are also really confident in the volume and quality of learning and development that the programme will deliver. And we are not prepared to undersell that in terms of, Chris and I had a really fascinating conversation about how much things like the Aspiring Chief Execs programmes are charged at in charities. So it is a live conversation. I'm not trying to avoid the question, Nick. I'm trying to manage expectations that it's not going to be £50, but it's not going to be 1,500 either. But it is, we are trying to balance all of those things in putting a price on it, but that will be really clear when we launch the bookings at the beginning of November. So thank you for asking the question.